First, I want to thank all of you for your generous support of the Anti-Defamation League and for participating in tonight's dinner. By doing so, you are helping to support the vital work that ADL does to fight discrimination and hate in all of its forms. The ADL is dedicated in purpose to defending democratic ideals, to safeguarding civil rights, and combating anti-Semitism, prejudice, and bigotry of all kinds. During the course of this evening, you will have an opportunity to hear about the vast and remarkable achievements of the ADL. I know you will have an extraordinary night as we honor Howard Tolman with the Anti-Defamation League's 2013 Gerald S. Salovey Freedom Award. This award is named after someone very special to me and many of us in this room and to the ADL, Jerry Salovey. Jerry believed deeply in the mission of the ADL, and we are very grateful to have his family here carrying on his legacy. This dinner specifically celebrates ADL's hard work in our local community. The award is cause for all of us to reflect on the unique freedoms we enjoy in this country, those freedoms that the ADL fights tirelessly to defend. A special thank you to the sponsors of this event, without whom this event could not have been successful. We are also thrilled to commemorate ADL's centennial year, as ADL was founded in 1913 right here in Chicago. We're going to skip over a couple of things because one of our special guests this evening arrived a little earlier. We want to make sure to get him in and out of here as quickly as we can tonight. I have the special privilege tonight of introducing that very special person to our community, Mayor Rahm Emanuel. We are very fortunate in this city to have a mayor who is so intensely focused on improving the education that we provide to our children. I've heard him say that he carries a card around in his vest pocket that reminds him to stay focused on that mission. He's also a mayor who tirelessly supports the great not-for-profits in this community and has been a wonderful friend to the Anti-Defamation League and to our honoree Howard. Thank you, Mayor, for coming tonight to honor Howard and to commemorate ADL's centennial. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of America's greatest city, Rahm Emanuel.
First of all, Keith, I want to thank you for that introduction. There are introductions like this that you always wish your parents were here for, because you know your mother would be proud and your father would be amazed. So thank you for that. I do want to say, first of all, I didn't envy the cantor for following Pastor Harris. Now, if you thought Pastor Harris was good, I highly recommend you go to the Bright Star Church on a Sunday and hear his choir, because there's two fabulous singers at his church. And I say that, by the way, because I still go to a lot of churches on Sundays, or as I will tell you a little anecdote or story. My son got bar mitzvah. We did it in Jerusalem and Israel. My middle daughter, she had hers in Prague, and both we did it with their cousins. So we were trying to decide, now that we left here, where we were going to do my youngest daughter's bar mitzvah. And as we were discussing possibilities around to remember part of Jewish history and their legacy as part of that continuum, she says, since all we do is go to church, why don't we just go to the church here in Chicago? And if you have heard Pastor Harris's church, that would be a natural place to do a bat mitzvah with his choir there. But that tells you something about the life I live right now, where church attendance is one of my great moments in time. I wanted to be here, obviously, not just because of my friendship with Howard, which is deep. I wanted to be here for the ADL on their 100-year anniversary, on a time in which I don't think Mr. Livingston, Sigmund Livingston, of 1913, would have thought the centennial of the ADL that was founded here in the city of Chicago would be commemorated by a person called Rahm Emanuel. And it talks about not just the ADL, but it talks about the rich history of the city of Chicago. Because 4 years after 1913, my grandfather, on my mother's side, as a 13-year-old, came to this city. not speaking a word of English, not knowing a single person, but to meet a third cousin he never knew in Moldova. Chicago, you say, is the greatest city. I do agree with you. It is the greatest city in America. It's the greatest city in America, which happens to be the greatest country in the world. But it is the most American of American cities. Because generations after generations, and still today, people from around the world, whether it's Poland or Peru, whether it's India or Ireland, whether it's Mexico or Moldova, have beaten their path to the city in which they can give their children, and in this case, their grandchildren, a chance in the American dream. And part of that dream, though, is what ADL is also committed to. A dream free of fear, a dream free of hatred, a dream free of bigotry. And I think Illinois, just a week ago, stood as an example of that dream when it passed marriage equality here in the state. Because until that moment, we lived in a city and we lived in a state where we discriminated against. There was a thing known as a straight marriage. There was a thing known as gay marriage. Well, because of that law, there's a thing now known as marriage. And whether you're gay or straight, you can participate in it. And that is what it means to come together as one community and to fight bigotry, fight discrimination, and fight hatred. And it's not an accident that mission of the ADL was started here in the city of Chicago. And it's also on this 100-year anniversary on the last night of Hanukkah. That candle, those 8 candles, are about perseverance, which is also what the ADL is about. Those 8 candles are about freedom, which is what the city of Chicago, ADL, means when you come to this city, this state, this country. We fight hatred, bigotry, or discrimination, which is what freedom embraces. It is also that candle about bringing light to where darkness exists. And bigotry and hatred and discrimination can only exist where there is darkness. So I wanted to be here on the 100-year anniversary, on the last night of Hanukkah, to commemorate an organization that has dedicated its 100 years, and I hope the next 100 years, to continue to bring light where darkness exists. To continue to show the flame and the power and the energy of perseverance in the face of hatred. And I want to thank the ADL and all of you for supporting an organization that works with our students in our public schools to teach them the values of diversity and the strength in diversity and respecting differences, rather than you can be and have a different view, a different perspective, without being difficult about it. And I appreciate the ADL's work with our students in teaching them the values of working together and understanding each other while we may have our differences. Adults could use that periodically in public spirited debates also, every once in a while. I also wanted to be here because Howard is a dear friend. Not just to me, and not just to my wife, Amy, which he is. He's a dear friend to the city of Chicago. And I cannot think of somebody more worthy of this honor and this recognition on your 100-year anniversary than somebody who has dedicated himself not just economically and professionally, which he has, but dedicated himself philanthropically and with his time and his effort in mentoring and supporting others who are less fortunate. One of my favorite quotes from I happen to say this, I apologize, from the Democratic Convention, I don't mean to be partisan at this moment, was from Michelle Obama, not President Obama and not President Clinton's speech. Everybody in this room has walked through a door of opportunity. We're all very fortunate that are here. We live not only in the greatest city in the greatest country, but we're very comfortable. And the challenge for all of us, as Michelle Obama said in that speech in Charlotte, North Carolina, was when you walk through that door of opportunity and you reach back, do you grab a door handle or do you grab somebody else's hand and pull them through that door of opportunity? And Howard has dedicated his life, both professionally and personally, to making sure there are more doors and there are more people and there are more hands coming through that door of opportunity. And I want to thank you, Howard, for always contributing to the city, always giving of your yourself. Your next mission, which is 1871, an incubator space in the city of Chicago, starting young entrepreneurs, mentoring them, nurturing them, and helping them reach their dreams. So, to the ADL, to the Tolman family, and to all of you who are here to support both of them, I want to thank you for dedicating yourself to the city, and dedicating yourself not just to this city, but to the vision and the mission of ridding this city of bigotry, hatred, discrimination, and showing the world and the United States and the rest of the country where there is discrimination today, what it means to live in a city that's diverse, but respects our differences while we are one. So to all of you, congratulations and power. Thank you.
Governor Pat Quinn is a true friend and partner of the Anti-Defamation League. Although the examples of Governor Quinn's cooperative work with the ADL are many, the one I'll mention tonight has special meaning. 2 weeks ago today, Governor Quinn signed into law the Illinois Marriage Equality Act. ADL, for many years, helped lead the fight to bring marriage equality to Illinois, and we thank Governor Quinn for his support. Consistent with ADL's founding charter, Governor Quinn's signature has helped bring justice and fair treatment to all. I thank Governor Quinn for joining us tonight and graciously agreeing to help us honor his friend Howard Tolman by presenting Howard with the 2013 Gerald F. Solovey Freedom Award. And with that, I invite Governor Quinn to join us.
Well, it's a very distinct honor to be here tonight, and such an inspiring night. And I want to thank ADL for 100 years of advocacy, fighting for justice. And I think it's so inspiring that we just saw these young boys and girls with their essays and their art. We know the next 100 years are in good hands with these young people who've been inspired by this opportunity to come here tonight to speak out about a very important part of our country, something that's the essence of our democracy, the First Amendment, which was adopted right after our Constitution was ratified. It became very clear that we needed to protect these fundamental freedoms that are part and parcel of America. And to hear tonight very different and many different voices and ways how important the First Amendment is to us, I think it's quite inspiring to all of us who happen to live in Illinois, the land of Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, who believed in government of the people. And it was only 150 years ago, on November 19th, 1863, that he spoke in the Gettysburg Address, 272 words, and summed up the essence of what we heard tonight, the essence of government of the people and by the people and for the people, shall not perish from this earth. And I do want to salute someone I did know in life, who's a special person I think inspires us. The award that's named for Gerald S. Solovey, this Freedom Award. It's, I think, very, very special that ADL awards this special recognition to outstanding people. When Howard called me a few months ago and asked me to be here tonight, I considered it a distinct honor to salute someone who is a Renaissance man, a man for all seasons, who has many, many talents. He is very persistent, we know that. We also know that he understands that disturbing or disrupting the status quo is oftentimes needed in a democracy and in our economic life. But I think it's important all of us to understand that Howard is about as well-rounded as any human being on planet Earth. He loves the arts. He's a patron of the arts. He's done so many things to help so many people. Before I came to the dinner table, I had a chance to visit with some of the students who are here tonight and see some of their essays, write something in their books. And Howard was right over there. He's a mentor to so many young people and young adults who have come his way. He's so generous with his time. To me, he has a servant's heart. He understands that the essence of being a human being is someone who has that ethic of service. Service to others is the rent we pay for our place on God's earth. And Howard Tolman has more than paid his rent throughout his life in service to others. And we heard the rabbi at the beginning of this evening speak about the importance of faith. And Howard is a man of faith. And he reminds me of someone in the Old Testament by the name of Isaiah. Isaiah talked about righteous oaks. And that's what Howard Tolman is, a righteous oak to me, Howard. You understand that you have to volunteer for important causes. You can't just stand on the sidelines. You've got to throw yourself into the life of all of us and make a difference. And Isaiah talked about volunteering. He said, "Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I heard you calling in the night. I will go if you lead me, and I will hold your people in my arms." And that's what Howard Tolman has done for all of us. I think all of us understand that it is very different in many ways of serving others. He's held all of us in his arms. He's a giving and generous man who really, I think, brings out the best in everyone he encounters. He understands that community and working together is very, very important. And he builds that kind of teamwork that all of us can be very grateful for. I, a couple years ago, had the honor of going to Israel with Judy and Howard, and we got to see many things and meet many people along the way. And on the very last day, or second last day, we were at the Dead Sea, and I had a pair of flip-flops. They weren't working very well at all. And they fell off, and it's pretty hot on those hot rocks. That's all I got to say. But there was Howard coming to my rescue and giving me a better pair of shoes. So I think that's, to me, what Howard Tolman is all about. He's there when you need him. He's a man who understands that the best way to help other people is to stand up and volunteer. And on behalf of everybody in Illinois, everybody in the United States of America, everybody on this planet, thank you very much, Howard Tolman. And please come forward.
I'm flattered and I'm really grateful that you're here, and I'm appreciative of your support for this organization, which I think is tremendously important. I'm sure they could have found some other more deserving recipients, but I'm happy they chose me. I'm proud to be here tonight at this particular time, both in my life and in all of our lives, because I think we're on the cusp of some astonishing changes, an impact and a magnitude that is unlike anything we've experienced, at least in my lifetime, and it's going to be a hell of a ride, and I'm excited just to be a part of it. They say that timing is everything, and as many of you know, I've just retired after 6 long but extremely gratifying years of building Tribeca Flashpoint Academy into what we think is, of course we would think this, the country's leading digital media arts college. And far more importantly, in that process of training literally hundreds of talented graduates to be effective and compelling storytellers. And it's this power of storytelling and the responsibilities that go with it that really bind my comments tonight to the mission and the ongoing efforts of the ADL. Storytelling is an astonishing tool. It's the way we teach, and it's the way we learn. The stories that we tell others, help us share our knowledge, our experience, and our wisdom. The stories we tell ourselves are the ways that we give ourselves faith and courage, inspiration, and the strength to bear on even against insurmountable odds and tremendous obstacles. But it's the stories that we tell our children and that our children create and tell themselves that are the most crucial of all, because these stories can heighten a child's horizons and broaden their perspectives in astonishing ways, or in the same instant, they can crush their creativity and they can condemn them to a really bleak and solitary future. Stories play this crucial part in all of our lives, and stories are not neutral. Stories are lessons that happen to be embedded in language, whether it's written, whether it's spoken, performed, or seen tonight. And they can bring us together or they can tear us apart. And sadly, in today's socially fueled and vibrant media and technology frenzy, we've done a really great job of enabling and empowering enhanced expression, where our stories, for better or for worse, spread instantly across the whole world. But we've done a lousy job, especially with anybody under 30, of explaining the ethical and the moral responsibilities that come with this expanded power to persuade, and the weight and the impact which these stories that we now can tell so powerfully and extensively have on other people's lives. In a recent song, Same Love, Macklemore, one of my favorites, talks about how readily we call each other hurtful names, as he says, behind the keys of a message board, and about the harm and the pain that these rote and thoughtless actions can cause. It's just too easy, too insular, and really far too separated from any concrete consequences today for people to launch these hateful and deceitful speech and spiteful slanders with just a few keystrokes on their computer or on their phone. We're not going to stop this behavior anytime soon, or maybe ever, but there's help available from the ADL in the form of education and in the form of encouragement of the amazing kinds that you've seen and heard here tonight. And in the form as well of reporting and refereeing and sort of record keeping, so that we understand and appreciate the scope of these problems, which it's easy to ignore, but which are major, and they're putting new kinds of stresses and strains on the very fabric of our society. Too many young people today in present company, junior school accepted, in our permissive and sort of overly parented society, are told and they sort of learn that they can do no wrong, they're entitled, they're exceptional, they're all the top of the heap and talented beyond measure, and that even the worst of their actions are consequenceless, and there's no real accountability. But that's not the way the real world works, and frankly, it's organizations like the ADL that will help us tell the next several generations what's right and what's wrong. And if the ADL wasn't there to help and explain these things and to educate and enforce these rights and these values, I'm not sure who would step into that particularly unrewarding and sort of unwelcoming void. Before I close, you heard Ram and the governor allude to my new job, which is as the incoming CEO of 1871. I couldn't really be more excited about this opportunity, especially because I've always looked at my career, as crazy and varied as it seems from the outside. I actually stole shoes, no, they're not simply supplied shoes occasionally in cases of duress. But I regard it as a continuum, which I've tried to move from strength to strength and from opportunity, and to bring along with me all the experiences of the past, both good and bad, and many of the key people, many of whom are here tonight, that made those prior successes possible, because nobody today succeeds by themselves. And I've talked a lot about stories tonight, and I see the job at 1871 in sort of an interesting lens. It's a chance to turn hundreds of stories into startups and into new exciting businesses, and to turn hundreds of ideas into that most gauche thing, invoices. Okay? So it's about making realistic dreams come true, and about the dedication, the hard work, and the sacrifice that it takes to make that happen. And that's what, you know, I've tried to do, and that's been a part of so much of what we've done for all these years. And in a way, tonight we helped these various students who are here realize that their work and their standing up and their expression can turn into an opportunity to make their dreams come true. And all of you have made that possible and have been a big part of that. So I'm proud to be here tonight to support the important and ongoing work of the ADL. I'm totally blown away by the students' stories, which I'm still sort of getting over. It does give me hope. I want to thank all of you again for being here, and I promise to get everybody out of here by 9 o'clock, so good night and God bless.
Everybody for joining us here this evening, especially our wonderful contest winners. If you were the lucky winner of an auction item, please be sure to check out on the way out. And with that, I thank you all for being